Welcome back to Conversations with Sharyn and Rosa. I'm Rosa.
And I'm still Sharyn.
And we want to thank you all each and every week for tuning in once again to Conversations with Sharyn and Rosa. We so appreciate all our subscribers. As we tell you all each week, it is so true. We do love you, and we appreciate you all being subscribers with us.
Absolutely.
And some of you all, I just feel like we're friends too. So, you know, it's...
Well, it's the feedback. It's
Yeah,
the wonderful
yeah.
feedback, and
So-
it's well thought out and honestly presented. So, we appreciate that.
We do appreciate that. So today, before we get into today's topic, you know, we have to do shout-outs of at least 3 of our subscribers. First shout-out goes to Lakeisha H. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for liking our videos and sharing with your friends and your family. Also, Zarandarin M. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Zarandarin M. Thank you for all of your comments. I have read each and every one of them. Thank you so much for being a subscriber and for tuning in and just, you know, being present. I appreciate that, being present in the moment. And last but not least is Yvonne H. Thank you for being a subscriber and thank you for your comments too. But like we said earlier, we do appreciate all our subscribers. So now for today's topic, we are coming to you today with closure. Does everyone need closure? That's what we'll be talking about today.
That's the question. Right.
Yes.
Right. As we were talking off camera, maybe everyone doesn't. But if you do need closure, I mean, exactly. Let's just start at the beginning. What is closure?
Right.
You know, what is it? What is it? Is it important? How do we achieve it? All right. Now, as you're out there in lesbian land and you're like, okay, get ready, like what they gonna hit me with this week. You know, this is no one's first relationship. At least not with us, it's not. You know what I mean? But definitely my forever date, my wife here.
Hopefully my last relationship.
See, now that lies the problem, right? But that's another video for another week, you know. But you're talking about closure because we hear the word and the concept thrown around, and what does it really mean? You know what I mean? And as Rose already said, you know, does everybody need closure? You know, so for an operational definition for the purpose of this video, let's just say that closure is when you know, understand, and accept the termination of a relationship, and furthermore, you're no longer associated with the pain, the emotional pain that lies with that relationship, that existed with that relationship. So that's a mouthful. So let's just, you know, bite-sized pieces. You know, whether you terminated the relationship or it was terminated for you.
Right.
You know, somebody out there just saying, well, what did that happen? How did that happen? You know, I got 2 buddies that, kind of even like lifelong friends now, but I had ran into one of them about 3 years ago, and, you know, the woman she had been with for about 8 years, I didn't know they had broken up, and I'm like, you know, what happened to the sweetie? And she said, Sharyn, I do not know why we broke up. And as you said, she know, but she ain't gonna tell it.
Right.
I don't know, but I'm thinking if you in a long-term relationship and it breaks up one day, it is terminated, and you had no idea. I'm looking at you. Do you surely you have some idea what went down?
Right.
Somebody wasn't happy with something.
Right.
Somebody was withholding something, not being honest, not coming.
Or you had some idea of something that was going on in the relationship. Like, you know what you guys were arguing mostly about. I'm sorry, you all, but it seems like a lot of bugs out here. And I feel like I'm getting bit. So excuse me with that.
Okay.
But
they don't bite me.
But surely you have to know something that's going on in a relationship. Like when people say they don't know, I tend to look at them like, it must have been you and you don't want to tell it. So I don't know if that's necessarily true, but why wouldn't you not know? I mean, you could have just said, it seems like it could have been a lot of things. I just don't know which one was the deal breaker of the person leaving. I think when it comes to closure, I think it's needed more if the person that needs it didn't end the relationship, because sometimes, like Sharyn was saying, she ran into her buddy who said that she didn't know what was going on.
Didn't know why it had dissolved.
Right.
Yeah.
So which means the other person probably broke up with her, and so she's unsure as to what happened or whatever the case may be. So she may be the one that need closure. The other person may be fine. She may be fine.
Well, and if you do, okay, so let's say that's true. And if you are the one that needs closure, how do you achieve it?
Yeah.
And my last question is closure overrated? Because once you do get through to the why and the how and what really happened and this is why it was terminated and all of that, do you feel better now?
Yeah, but
well, at least I know why. At least I know why she kicked me to the curb.
Right.
You're still at the curb.
Well, some people, even if they know the why, they don't want to accept the why.
That's what I'm saying.
But
that's
when you say is closure overrated, I think it just depends on the person. Like, some people may be like, girl, just let it go and, keep moving. To them, it's not a big deal. But to the other person, it may be a big deal and they may need closure. I personally, in relationships, don't need closure. I mean, when it's over, it seems to be over for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think...
But what happens if you get there first and the other person doesn't? Like, I didn't know. Should I cancel all reservations? Like, no, I will not be there for your birthday, New Year's Eve, or Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Bam.
No, and I get that. But I think for me, I just felt like I haven't needed closure because we left on good terms.
Okay.
And because, at any given time, I can't say all of my ex, but most of my ex...
Wait a minute. How many are there?
It's not a lot. But most of my ex, I could, call and have a conversation with. So, you kind of can find out more stuff as to what was going on in the relationship during that. So it's kind of a closure, but not a needed closure. Now, for me, when we talk about closure, I look at it as like childhood stuff, like that type of stuff I need closure with. But as far as relationships, I don't. And I think a lot of it stems, the reason why I don't need it in relationship, that stems from my childhood. Just because, there's a whole lot of unanswered stuff in my childhood. And I think I've come to be okay with that. Be okay with the not having stuff answered, even though you have questions. So yeah, I mean, of course, when I break up, I got questions. I wonder what was really happening.
When you're trying to recover, from a relationship that was terminated by the partner, and there you are. How do you get out of that hole? And anybody can do, one day at a time. Just change your phone number, change your address. I don't
think you need to do all that.
No, but some people do. Some people have done it, and some people do need it. My thing is, I get closure if I call you and the phone rings 11 times. I assume that you don't want to talk to me if you didn't pick up the phone. So you can call me big, you can't call me stupid. I catch on pretty quick if you no longer want to be involved with me. But on a serious note, there's people out there that's really, really hurting. And, and I'd say, you do have to, change your thinking about it, because if you're at that place of, I thought we were going to be forever and I don't want to live without this person, that's a little deep, you know what I mean? And you may need to talk to someone that's truly professional because we are not. But I do say change your habits. If you know where she goes to get her Starbucks coffee at, don't go to the places she goes. Right. If she goes to that gym and there at 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., what gym she's working out at, I think, and you got a membership too, change your membership. Yeah. Go to the one that's 2 miles to the east or whatever you need to do as you're trying to break that person's orbit. And you're doing it, and it's not a selfish thing. You say you're after closure, right? Because what you really want to know is, Why don't you want me anymore?
Right.
Why did we fail? How did we get here? And you may have 10 or 15 questions you want to ask her, and you don't even get to ask your questions because she's already terminated the relationship. That's a hard place to be. So I don't want to. I don't want to sound like we're minimizing it. It definitely puts you right there in the hurt locker. It puts you in the hurt locker. So so as we say that, and I'm prone to be dramatic because I'm a Gemini, but I know I say that a lot, as though it gets me off the hook. I'm just trying to explain to y'all why I do what I do, But
She does what she do because she's sharing.
yeah, who happens to be a Gemini, but for me, I've said it several times jokingly, but I really do mean it. We break up. I feel that there should be two oceans in between us. Because I do not want to run into you at Whole Foods. I do not want to run into you at the cleaners and all that, especially if I'm committed to trying to get over the sudden termination of the relationship.
But when you were saying earlier that if we know where the person frequents, try not to go there, and I get that, but then at the same time it's like, do you let somebody run your life? Like if the gym is up the street and it's convenient, I work with convenience. Whatever's more convenient for me, I'm probably going to go. So if Vons is the closest store, I'm not going way to Ralph's just to avoid you may or may not be there. Because you may not even be there during the time I go.
But remember,
I'm saying I got to change my lifestyle.
Well, you need to do whatever changes you need to do for you to feel better than what you're feeling right now. Okay. I do say whatever it takes. I'm not trying to sound dramatic, but we all know, again, in lesbian land, a lot of us are still hurting from a relationship that was terminated that we're still walking around in a daze from, because you had given so much and perhaps she gave all she was willing to give. She terminated, and there you are in the hurt locker. Boom. So whatever it does take, and that does include talking to a good friend, talking to clergy, talking to a therapist, whatever you need to do to get past it. So, that's my take on it.
No, I hear you, and that, I guess, I wasn't even thinking about it like that, and like finding my closure, but at the same time, it's like, I would have to figure out a different way for closure, because if I bump into you, I just bump into you. I know how to go down another aisle, like, it just doesn't faze me. Stuff like
well, tell me this. So if you over your ex or the ex of the ex and all that.
Well, you're not over it.
Let's say if you were. But I'm saying my telltale thing is like, if I can see you and don't throw up, I know I'm okay now. Oh, don't even say her name. No, but I mean, for me, I remember it was, this is years ago, but just the smell of the perfume brought me back to some negative memories. Right. And it was like, I just had a bad moment in Macy's because it's like I smelled the fragrance and I thought she was there. Right. It just took me right back to a place, to a place where I was, not feeling good, where I had been hurt. So,
well, now that you bring that up, and I'm only gonna say this about the perfume because this is like the reason you get when you say I'm not gonna let the person run my life. So I just switched my perfume. I was wearing Angel. Now I wear 212 NYC 212.
I like it too.
So I love it. But the first time I smelled it was on an ex. And I didn't want to wear it for a long time because they were wearing it and we were done. And I'm just like, you know what? I like the smell. So why would I not wear it because of them? And, and I've switched over. So it's like, it doesn't make me think about them every day. just,
No,
I enjoy
well,
the
then
smell of it. So.
Yeah. Well, you freed yourself from it. And it didn't trigger negative memories for you, evidently.
Right, but was the time where I wasn't wearing it because of the ex, is that like I'm still upset or I need closure? You know what I'm saying? Maybe that could have been a phase. I don't know.
It could have been. And maybe whether you were conscious of it or not, maybe you did need some time and you took it. Whether you were or knew you was on the clock, on some kind of emotional clock, but it was just like you smell it now, and all you're gonna say is like, "Oh, that's my perfume."
It smells good, right?
Right. Give me another bottle.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But So when you brought up the perfume, that brought that story up. So I don't know.
Well, and so I'm not assuming that people have never had to go through this, but I'm talking right now specifically to the people who have was searching for, needed, wanted to achieve closure. If you did achieve closure, how did that make you feel? You know, what did you learn about yourself? Right. And when you really look back, it's been a year and a half, it's been 2 years, and you feeling really just about healthy again. When you reflect, you're like, how could I have been so deep?
Right.
How empty of me to be so full of you. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, she had me going, or whatever you were reflecting on. My question is, if I were to run into you a year later, how would you be feeling?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, Sharyn, that is so over. I'm so done. Oh, did you meet my new girlfriend? And, and you're looking happy again and you're smiling again. So, there is something to be said about closure. Me, personally, I don't think I need it. I didn't, but then when I look back, evidently there was things that I was putting in place to make sure that I maintained my wellness, especially when I was not the one who terminated the relationship.
Yeah.
So again, talk.
But I think even though when, we say everybody, because I personally don't think everybody needs it. And, I'm putting myself in that category.
Okay.
But I think it may be necessary because it kind of taps into who you are. Like, when you hear something from an ex or whatever, be like, I just didn't like the way, you always was hanging with your friends and not including me and blah, 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 blah. If they say something, it's probably something you've heard before.
Sure.
In other relationships.
Right.
So
maybe.
that closure or that reason that you are, that's the reason that person broke up with you, may change something, may make you look at yourself and say,
Absolutely.
what, this new relationship, when I find, a new partner, I'm going to not do that, because apparently it kind of is the reason why people break up. So you can kind of use the closure as, like a stepping stone towards a better you. You know what I'm saying?
That's
or a
thinking
better
very
person.
positive.
Yeah,
that's
so
very
I don't
positive.
think everybody needs it, but I think it's probably necessary.
Right. But I will say that the people who think they need it, I do suggest you do try to get it to achieve it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if not, you like.
But the only way you can get it is from the person who you broke up with. So if you're not talking to them, or if you're not trying to frequent the places that they go to, it's not gonna happen. Like, when I think we just need to get into a mind frame that it's just not gonna happen. So let me move on, let me try to move past it, and try to even maybe think about some of the things. What things did you all argue about the most? What did you notice about you that you could have done better? I mean, not putting the blame on them or yourself, just saying, what could I have done better? Because when breakup happens, it's two people. You might run into, Sharyn ran into her friend and said, she didn't know. It's two people. So something she did too, something the other person may have done to break up.
What are you referencing?
When you said you ran into a friend who didn't know why they broke up.
Oh, one of my friends. I thought you were speaking of me with an ex. Okay, no.
I'm just saying you can use it to just build yourself up and make yourself that much stronger, better for the next person.
Right. It's a learning
because
moment.
That's what you do. You take when you're in relationships, you take what you've learned there and move and make a better relationship for the new partner. And that's why Sharyn always reference Rosa got the best of me, da 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 da. And she's probably right, because she's been through a lot of relationships where she picked up little tidbits of things that make her a better spouse now. Whereas she may not have been. Like, if you ask somebody before me, they probably could give you a horror story of who Sharyn is, and you like, that's not the person that I know. Yeah, that's who she used to be.
Horror story, sweetie.
I'm just saying.
Who's being dramatic now?
Well, I'm gonna ask somebody and see if I'm dramatic.
I'm gonna own my own stuff, because that's the thing to do. I will say this, and I do mean it honestly. I'm better now than I've ever been, and I do believe that you got the best of me. 20 years ago, we wouldn't have made it. 15 years ago, you wouldn't have looked at me. I really don't think so. Or maybe you know what I mean? Whatever. But I do feel, with age, sometimes comes wisdom, and you slow down. You see the rough spots. You take care of some of your major issues. You get better. I'm bringing forth my best self,
Yes.
and if this don't work, this is all I got. I got nothing else, So, but yeah, I do believe that, God has, saved the best for last for me.
Yeah.
And I've told you not to be over dramatic, but I feel that I will die loving you. That's yeah. Yeah, yeah. This is about as good as it gets for me.
Thank you, boo.
Yeah. So, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I'm whipped. So with that, again, staying online, with
topic.
staying on topic, with closure, not to minimize it, but like I said, we got a lot of friends, we got people that we associate with, and we got people that just share some of their stories and where they're at. And like I said, there's some people out there that's really hurting. They're hurting to the point that they can't even possibly go further in their life, romantically speaking, because they haven't been freed from the emotional pain that they're in from the person who left them. It's stunning. It's a punch. It's a hard punch to the heart.
Yeah.
And it hurts, and it takes time. So there is no timeline. There's some people like, oh, she got over that one quick because January you was with Mildred, and in May you was with Sally. Some people get over it, and some people don't even need it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'd put your name on a piece of paper, draw a line through your name, throw it in the trash can, and take the trash out immediately. Okay.
I do my burning ritual. I just put your name on a piece of paper and burn it over some fire.
Then we burn sage for 3 weeks, not days, weeks. I burn it like house on fire. No, we sage it. No, like but seriously, whatever you need to do to free yourself of the hurt. You know what I mean? Because it's and quite frankly, for you or the other person, it's not fair for you to keep going on, because it's like you're the walking wounded, if you will. And then you do meet somebody who's, kind, loving, giving, available, and feeling you too, and you're underprepared to start a new relationship because you're carrying the ghost and didn't get the you didn't get the closure
that you needed
from the other person. It happens. It happens more times than we really do. That we're willing to admit. Yeah. So, I'm sorry.
But even for me, how I was saying that I don't necessarily need closure in a relationship, but in other ways, I just recently, was it about 2 months ago, where I had my reading?
Yes.
I had a reading done, and she was telling me that one of the things I should do is what's called a cord cutting ceremony. And so that's to rid myself of my parents, pretty much, because I'm letting them dictate a lot of stuff, and I got a lot of history with that, so that's a whole nother story. But I'm saying that to say, it probably helps in relationships too. Sometimes you just need to do,
cut the cord,
a cord cutting, or whatever you want to call it at that point, a relationship cutting. Ribbon cutting ceremony, but because it may help you to get past that person, even though you can't get the closure that you need. So that's one of the suggestions. I don't know if it'll work.
For the
look it
person.
Up online. How they do the cord cutting one. It's on YouTube. So,
but you were comfortable with the information you received.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
definitely. Okay. So, and there's different ways of doing it. So, you know, like. Sometimes we really have to go deep and dig deep to rid ourselves of the toxic relationship that you may have been in,
right?
Or whatever the case may have been.
And what happens when people, so say they get closure and then they go right into a relationship that's equally toxic? or whatever. That's a whole nother subject. You know what I mean? Like, cause my thing is like, what did I learn from the last? Look, this seems so familiar. Is this the part? Like I tell people, oh, I saw that movie. I kind of know how it ends.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I can identify it at 50 paces.
Yeah.
You know, when the relationship is over, it is time for you to like pump the brakes, reflect. What did I learn? Why did it end? Why did it end like this? What part did I play? What part did she play? Why was it terminated? Why is it that it just didn't work? Right. And you may know the answers to your questions. You don't need to reflect with no one else,
right?
Because you already know what's wrong. Sometimes the problem is you.
Could be.
Sometimes the problem is you, or you may be a person who just make bad choices in selecting a mate, or a person to love you. Asking the wrong people to love you, because people have different levels of or capabilities of loving someone else.
Right.
And with my relationship with Rosa, one thing I feel. One thing that makes it work for us is the fact that we are both mutually committed to one another's happiness.
Yeah. But I think when you look back on relationships, and you're constantly picking the same type of relationship, like if you're such a giver and you need to choose somebody who needs stuff from you because you're constantly giving,
you need somebody needy.
That's kind of what you would need to look into, because not everybody who wants to accept stuff from you
or needs to
want to love you.
You right.
They just want to accept what they can accept.
Look, thank you.
So the relationship may just not work out. I mean, we have to look at our history and what we've been doing,
right, and our behaviors. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so and this just made me think of this when Sharyn was just talking about in her past relationships. I think she kind of did the same thing, was with people that kind of needed something, and then she got with me and we're both like, nope. You know what I'm saying? We're both just headstrong. I feel like I don't need things. She feel like she don't need things. So it's like, all I want is, for her to love me. Her to love me, got my back because I love her and I got her back. And it's like, I don't need anything else. But I think it kind of throws her back when she's like, babe, I want to get you this. I'm like, I don't need that.
Her words are, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know you're good.
I know you love me. You don't have to shower me with stuff, And if I want something, I normally get it myself. But I've always been like that, and I'm trying to, as Sharyn says, accept stuff in the spirit in which it is given.
Yes.
So I'm trying to be that person to accept stuff.
You've gotten better.
But I think
you've gotten better.
I think we're working better because she chose someone a little bit different from what she normally chose. That's kind of. And I too, yeah.
So. You told him on one of the videos that I wasn't your type,
no, at first you were not. I didn't know that you weren't until I gave you a chance.
You gave me a chance, and I did you. I mean, as well. I mean, and it wasn't that that we had experienced each other that long. It was just the fact that at first blush, she was like, well, I'm a little older and whatever, and I'm thinking, like I said, I got pocketbooks older than her, but what I liked her honesty, her kindness. She was real, and as I say, and I do mean this, Rosa is 11 of the 10 things I was looking for. So, but that's us, and I'm sorry to sound corny, but back to us out there in lesbian land. We're talking about closure. You know yourself better than anyone else, or should know yourself better than anyone else.
Absolutely.
Do you need a closure? And if you do need it, how do you get it? And once you get it, will that be enough for you to continue on your journey?
And be ready for, what are you going to do with the information? Because you got to be ready for what's coming. You may not be ready for it. Somebody may tell you something that may just blow your mind that you didn't even know that they knew. And that may be why. You know what I'm saying? So, don't come out of pocket with a nasty attitude. Just, however you receive that information, just take it and whatever, now that you know it, you do what you want to do with the information.
So we're going to want to wrap it up with, just the questions that we're going to leave you, like I say, with more questions than answers. But, is closure necessary? Is closure overrated? and how do you achieve it? And I'm saying for all of us, we're different. Different
Yes.
makeup, different personalities, different experiences. What works for me may not work for you. But one day at a time.
Absolutely.
One day at a time, and not to borrow anybody's mantra, but with closure, especially if you did not terminate the relationship. Oftentimes, the person who has been left, they are the ones seeking closure because they have no idea why it happened.
They blindsided all of a sudden.
Right. Like I said, we had tickets for Rio. Well, you're going to see Rio. It just won't be with me. That kind of thing. It happens to us, So always, so think about it and give us some feedback what you think about today's show. And as always, we're wishing you the very best.
Of all good things. Stay safe and stay woke. Thank you.